Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love, guys. This story is from the user throwaway account 243121 and says, my brother tried to pull a fast one on his wife and she did an Uno reverse and I'm laughing watching him scramble. My brother, fake name Dick, and his wife Anna have been having some serious marital problems, which is 99% Dick's fault. Anna is a stay-at-home mum, goes to college online, and has a side business with an MLM. Oof. But whatever she has, made some new friends and seems to be happier. Before they had kids, Dick and Anna had a solid marriage. Anna told me after the kids came, their marriage slowly went downhill, and now it's on life support. Anna does everything for the kids and Dick wants a medal for watching the kids for 30 minutes while Anna cooks dinner. He's more than capable of taking care of them but chooses to let Anna do everything if he can get away with it. The MLM Anna is involved with is having a big convention this week. We are locals, but Anna decided to do a staycation and is staying at a hotel near the convention with her friends. This has been planned for months. Anna told Dick to take time off work and made it very clear she needed the break and this would be a really good opportunity to network. Over Christmas, she asked him if he got approved for the time off and he said yeah. I told her he is going to mess this up for you and she told me he better not. She called me in tears and Dick texted her that an emergency came up at work and he would not be able to take it off. He had to put in a long day on Tuesday and would be flying out on Wednesday. He was so sorry and would make it up to her. I thought she was going to have a breakdown. She could barely talk. I told her to calm down and finish packing and pick her kids up from school. I said I would watch them until Dick got home. She did not want me in the middle. I told her fuck Dick and we've never been close and I did not give a damn how he reacted. I watched the kids until Dick strolled in at 10 PM and told him he was a selfish piece of shit on my way out the door. He blasted my phone and I put him on Do Not Disturb. I talked with Anna yesterday and he blasted her phone as well. She ended up telling him that they could either get marriage counseling or see divorce lawyers. His choice, but he better stop calling her unless it was an emergency with the kids or she was calling to talk to them. He called his jets after being told that. He stopped by my house and I spoke to him through the Ring camera and he asked me what he was supposed to do with the kids. I asked him if he even bothered to request a time off work and he would not answer me and he said he had an important business trip. He said Anna won't give the contact info of their babysitters and asked me if I could watch the kids. I told him to get the fuck off my property with his bullshit. If he were any kind of parent, he'd already have the contact info for the babysitter. Anna prepared meals for the kids, organized all their clothes for the week and left a detailed itinerary of their schedule. What else does he need? Our parents and his in-laws won't return his calls. He's flying solo this week and had to cancel his alleged business trip. Anna says she will get to the bottom of that when she gets back home. I hope she has the best time with her friends. I hope Dick does not get a moment of peace. No one is buying his lies or coming to his rescue, and I laugh when I think about it. Good luck, bro. So, the husband promised months ago that he'd watch the kids while his wife went on this trip, but at last minute he suddenly had this work emergency. It's all a bit convenient, isn't it? And the problem is, he never actually booked time off. If I'm being completely honest, you already said this marriage was already on life support. I can't see it going much further the way things are going. I think she's probably going to go away with her friends, realize that her life is a lot easier without him around, and then act on that. Because for the most part, it already sounds like she's a single parent, right? But a commenter says, how old are the kids? In their fight, the kids will be impacted. That Dick will not feed them. He needs to learn this, but not with children getting messed up in between. Hope he says the kids are 4 and 6. They will be fed and he is very capable of taking care of them, and he will take good care of them. Anna is in close contact with them. The issue is he tried to sabotage her staycation because he is selfish. Collective says, I think he wasn't just trying to sabotage. It sounds like he had some side action planned as well. Opie says, I believe he is very capable of that. That is a whole other can of worms Anna has chosen not to currently pursue. If he was planning some side action, it won't be happening this week. Commenter says, I'd advise Anna to consult a divorce lawyer regardless. Opie says, I see this stunt being the final straw. Another commenter says, at least Anna knows she got support and Opie is an absolute boss for being an awesome bestie. I'd be getting their favorite snacks and candies every week for several months as a thank you for ass covering. Holy crap, Dick is an incompetent dick. I'm sorry. Did he forget he's the dad to these kids and not just the sperm donor? Opie says he thinks because he is the breadwinner that means his work is done. Our dad is nothing like that. I told Anna to keep me posted and I will keep you guys posted. Another commenter says she'll get better behavior from him as an ex-husband, with the courts mandating his parental effort under pain of contempt. There's no way he requested that time off, and I would love to see what a judge would do with that sort of BS during proceedings. Opie says I don't believe for a second he requested time off. As crazy as it sounds, he would probably be a more involved father if they got a divorce. Opie comes in with an update and says I got a lot of messages for updates, so I'm going to leave it in the comments. I'm going to start with the good news first. Anna is going to divorce Dick. Thanks to a family member, she was able to get an appointment with a lawyer this week. She comes very highly recommended. When Anna came home on Sunday night, Dick was waiting with a suitcase and said it was his turn to take a vacation, and he left. No arguing, he just left. In his warped mind, his silence is meant to punish Anna, but he is just making her life easier. While he is gone, she's going to be making copies of all the financial documents she can find. She hopes he really teaches her a lesson and stays gone. The house was a wreck. She moved all of Dick's crap from the master bedroom into his office. All his shit is lying on the floor. You can't even walk in there. There's not even a room for a twin air mattress. The kids enjoyed their time with Dick. They were asking for him today and want to spend time with him. Anna called him and he did answer and spoke with the kids and told them he was on a business trip. She's going to file for joint custody. If he does not want 50% custody, then he will have to turn it down on the record. She also found out last Tuesday that when he was supposed to be watching the kids, he was tagged in a picture at a bar playing pool. So much for working. He did not even untag himself, which shows he really does not give a fuck. He doesn't love Anna or like her, but he must hate her to act like that. I don't get it. He absolutely disgusts me. That is all I have to update. Bloody hell, the absolute cheeky so-and-so to have his bags packed and said he's going on freaking a little trip afterwards. Unreal, but I think it turned out a pretty predictable ending because there was no way that was going to be sustainable. But now I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Let's move on to another story. Now, quick trigger warning before we do get into this next story. There is miscarriage within the story, so if you do want to skip it, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. Thank you. It's titled, Me, 32 female, with my husband and in-laws of 6 years. I'm being really petty about Christmas gifts for my niece, but there's a lot more to it. Okay, so to the details. My husband and I are pretty well educated and well off. I'm a doctor, he also has a graduate degree. We live in an expensive city with our 2-year-old daughter and have a pretty great life. His sister never went to college and made a series of bad choices in life, but has cleaned herself up pretty well. She got pregnant right after I had my daughter, and she has a 1-year-old daughter. She became a stay-at-home mum, and I went back to work right after my daughter was born. I wasn't prepared for how hard it would be to leave my daughter. For most of my life, my career was my life, and I came really close to walking away from it when my daughter was a newborn. Not quitting my job was the hardest thing I've ever had to do, but with med school loans and so many years dedicated to becoming a doctor, I couldn't justify leaving. Still, I felt and still feel very conflicted about it, and I think that conflict is driving a lot of what's behind the rest of this post. I know being a stay-at-home mum is a hard job, but my sister-in-law seems to have it pretty easy. My mother-in-law helps out a lot, and her daughter goes to half-time preschool. I am, I admit, pretty jealous of her life. When I have a day off and spend it with her, I can't believe how stress-free and fun it seems. I'm sure she has difficulties I don't see, but I am still often pretty jealous of her life. Her husband doesn't make great money, and they're pretty much paycheck to paycheck, so my mother-in-law and father-in-law help them out with a lot of stuff financially, which is their choice of course. I started feeling a little petty when my mother-in-law bought my sister-in-law the same exact $400 jogging stroller I have. I budgeted for it and saved up while I was pregnant so I could have the exact one I wanted, and as soon as my sister-in-law had her daughter, my mother-in-law bought her the same stroller. She doesn't even jog. My mother-in-law just wanted her to have the same stroller I had. After that, I noticed that literally every single thing I buy for my daughter, my mother-in-law buys for my sister-in-law's daughter. She has the same car seat, same shoes, same clothes, every book, every toy, everything. My mother-in-law even bought very expensive plane tickets so my sister-in-law, brother-in-law, and niece could go on the same vacation my husband and I are going on, and paying for ourselves. I was mostly fine with all of this until my sister-in-law and I both got pregnant again at the same time. had a miscarriage as I was entering my second trimester and thought I was in the safe zone. My sister-in-law didn't. For some reason, that was the last straw. Before the miscarriage, I thought it was kind of funny and mildly annoying that my mother-in-law bought everything I got my daughter for my niece. After the miscarriage, it fills me with rage. The way it goes in my head is, I sacrifice time with my daughter to go to work and make good money so she can have nice things and important experiences. And my sister-in-law's daughter gets all that without any sacrifice at all. It feels so unfair. It came to a head when I was doing Christmas shopping. I jokingly asked my husband if I should just buy 2 of everything I picked out for our daughter so I can give 1 to our niece. He said, well, that's what my mum did. That seems like the right thing to do. Okay, so great. I can't buy any presents for my daughter without getting 1 for my niece. We talked about it for a while and he basically said I was being really petty and should get over it. And part of me agrees with him, and part of him doesn't. The only other thing that I want to mention is that I did try to rationalize that it's my mother-in-law's money and she can do whatever she wants with it. But after this had been going on for a while, it slowly dawned on me that she doesn't manage her money well at all. My husband has done their estate paperwork with them, and she will either never retire or will have to take care of her in her retirement. I think she is just assuming that because my husband and I make good money, she doesn't have to plan for her retirement, and she can just squander all the money she earns now, showering my sister-in-law and niece in gifts. My sister-in-law has access to mother-in-law's Amazon account and orders herself anything she wants whenever she wants. I am prepared to be eviscerated here because I know that my pettiness and jealousy is really unbecoming of a grown-ass professional adult woman. But I feel so petty and small about this, I feel I can't really talk to anyone in real life. So any advice about how to handle the situation is welcome. And please try to go easy on me. I already know I'm ridiculous. For me, I get why OP would be frustrated in this situation. But ultimately, and it's going to sound rough, the mother-in-law can spend her money however she wants. If she chooses to fund one daughter's lifestyle and duplicate everything, yeah, I don't like it, but that's her decision. Really annoying and unfair, but it's not something you can really control. But for me, where it crossed the line is that there was this maybe expectation, I'm not sure if it was an expectation or not, or OP thinks this might happen, is that you have to care for mother-in-law in her later life. You know, watching someone burn through their money now, assuming a son and daughter-in-law will pick up the bill in retirement, that's where some kind of boundary needs to come in place, like we're not funding your retirement, so please plan accordingly. And that's a part of this that you can control. But Babbitt B says, well, you're perfectly within your rights not to duplicate every gift you buy for your daughter for your niece. In fact, I think it would be pretty unusual if you did. At the same time, what mother-in-law does with her money is her business, and as annoying as it might be, if that means buying matching everything for your niece, that's her choice to make. If she can't afford it, the same thing applies. I'm afraid she's a grown adult, and she's entitled to manage or mismanage her own money. Commenter says, of course, you shouldn't buy your niece a duplicate of everything you buy your daughter. That's absurd. Your husband was probably trying to say, stop complaining about my family, rather than buy over-the-top presents for our niece. I'm so sorry about your miscarriage, and it is completely understandable that after such a huge loss, you're reevaluating things and are unhappy, especially with somebody close to you that has a pregnancy that did not result in miscarriage. I think your best course of action is just take care of yourself and your nuclear family while you and your husband process your grief. Take space from your in-laws as you need, but also try not to complain to your husband about everything that they do. Focus on healing. The conversation about how much help that you are willing to offer your in-laws is an important one to have, but it doesn't need to happen this month or even this year. So it was 3 weeks later that OP came in with her update and said, nothing too dramatic, but I wanted to give you all a small update now that the holidays are over. I did end up buying my niece some duplicate gifts I got my daughter, but my daughter's big present was a pretend doctor kit. She likes to say she wants to be a doctor like mama, which makes me melt. I didn't get one for my niece, even though my husband told me I should. My daughter opened it with the rest of the gifts with the whole family there, and she loved it. Later that day, my mother-in-law asked me where I got it, and she immediately went online and ordered one for my niece. I had gotten my daughter some books recently that she really enjoyed, and since she liked them so much, I got some of the books as Christmas gifts for my niece. It turned out my mother-in-law bought her the same exact books. She had seen my daughter reading them the last time she was over, so the copying thing was pretty front and center. Also, at one point, we're having a conversation about toddler beds. My sister-in-law asked me which one I was thinking about for my daughter. This is weird, what the hell? Later that day, she convinced her mum to buy the same bed for her daughter, so I guess that's how things are going to be. My mother-in-law can buy whatever she wants, but I'm not going to do anything differently than I would otherwise. Just keep up with a weird sense of fairness, even if it bothers my husband. My husband and I talked more about the issue of his parents' finances. While we were together for Christmas, I found out that the situation is even worse than I thought. And even though they have a very high income right now, they're basically living paycheck to paycheck, spending almost $10,000 a month. My husband admitted he's concerned too, but his approach is to help them grow their business rather than try to convince them to rein in their spending. I disagree, but it's an ongoing conversation. So that's the update. Nothing really happened, but I'm just making a conscious decision to view their behavior as ridiculous and a little bit funny instead of being resentful. And hopefully my husband and I can get on the same page regarding their money situation and how it will impact us in the future. This is so trippy to me. I mean, like I was thinking, like if you was buying like one similar toy once or twice, I think, that might be okay. But copying literally everything, the strollers, the books, the beds, the vacations, that's not about the kids anymore. It feels like she's almost trying to erase any differences between the two families. Like both grandkids have to live identical lives. It's so strange. It's got to be like guilt or favoritism, like the need to keep everything fair to like this unhealthy degree. And for me, as I was reading it, for OP, I felt like it was just like weirdly invasive. You can't even choose something special for your own kid without it getting duplicated. But that was the latest update on that, and I can't see that ending well. That can't continue like that, surely. Either they're going to run out of money and it's all going to go crazy in that direction, or OP is just going to lose her shit one day with this kind of behavior, because it's mad. A commenter says to OP, why not spend less time with these SWF in-laws, or give them misinformation about your future purchases? Yeah, we're going to gold leaf the baby's room and then install a sterling crib. It's like having a spy camera in your house, and it's only going to get worse as your daughter gets older. Private school for kiddo, summer camp. She may grow to hate her cousin if she isn't allowed to own or do anything different than her. Next year, buy all her presents on Etsy and forget what vendors you used. Or Petty Me's thinking that you should tell him that you're going to buy her an air horn or something, or like pots full of glitter. Damn, where did that evil laugh come from? A commenter says the doctor kit thing was a pretty personal thing to have copied and honestly would have annoyed me most. For really personal gifts, I would just give them to her away from family. At least if she finds out later and buys it, you can still fully enjoy the gift occasion first without any extra drama like her running to buy it online. Your daughter is eventually going to notice this behavior when she gets older as well, so really ignoring it is going to give you more trouble down the line. That's an absolutely good point as well, and one that I totally missed. Daughter is going to pick up on this very quickly if she isn't already. Another commenter is similar, saying, the sad thing is that your daughter and niece will probably end up hating each other because of this. Or more likely, the niece will deeply resent getting copycat gifts of her cousin and will feel as if people like your daughter better. Your husband is focused on growing the business, but they haven't even learned appropriate spending habits. So instead of going through 10k a month, it'll be 20k and 30k, etc. All while under the belief that you and your hubby will be funding their retirement. Have that talk. And one more comment that says they are still quite young, but over the next few years, the girls will develop different interests. In the next few years, you could always express this concern and have a desire for both your daughter and niece to have their own individuality. It won't work for all things, but you can always come to a point where you say, I was okay with them matching for a while, but now they're getting older, I'm not okay with matching everything. For both of their benefits, I want them to be their own people and have their own interests. I do have a thought though. Do you think this is a weird competitive thing, or perhaps a true imitation is the sincerest form of flattery situation? You and your husband clearly have created a very good life for yourselves, and theoretically, your daughter is theoretically close to following your footsteps. Maybe subconsciously, your sister-in-law views you two as better parents and envy you, trying to just copy you where they can. But now, I'm going to turn this one to you guys. What do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below, and let's move on to another story. Now, our next story comes from Honeyglow24 from the Am I the Arsehole Here subreddit. I just want to give a couple of trigger warnings before we do get into this story. The trigger warnings are medical trauma, a traumatic childbirth, a near-death experience, and postpartum depression as well. So if you do want to skip it again, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and on the timeline below. Thank you. Oh, this bloody title. Am I the arsehole here? I snapped on my soon-to-be ex-husband for having sex in the same room as our daughter, even though she was asleep. I, 30 female, was with my 34 male husband for almost 10 years, married for 8. We have a 4-year-old daughter together. My husband also has another daughter from his previous marriage. She is 12 and he hasn't seen or had any contact with her since she was 3. Years ago, when his ex-wife moved across the state of Texas, I urged him to fight for his right to be in her life. He paid child support and had court-ordered visitation, but he never pushed the issue and gave up without even a fight. At that time, we had just gotten married. Seeing that, it made me never want to have children with him. I loved him, but I felt in my heart that if he so easily gave up on his first child, then what would make my children with him any different? Well, I ended up getting pregnant 7 years into the relationship. No, we weren't trying. I accepted it though. As soon as I saw those lines on the pregnancy test, I loved her. I worked up every day until I gave birth to my daughter. I was the breadwinner, and I knew that I was about to have a baby and I would be out of work for a minimum of 2 months. So I worked my ass off and got us 3 months ahead on all of our bills. He helped none. Didn't help with bills, planning and setting up the baby shower, paying for said baby shower, buying baby supplies. I cloth diapered. He didn't help with a single thing. Her delivery was traumatic to say the least. There were a lot of complications. I almost bled out on the table during my C-section and my uterus had begun to tear during it. To that point that I was close to needing a hysterectomy. My daughter also stopped breathing during the C-section and had to be resuscitated. Thankfully, we both made it out. After her delivery, he wasn't attentive to either of us. Everything was on me. I was a new mother and I was suffering with PPD. I was drowning and wouldn't get any help or support from him. I lost 50 pounds in a month due to how severe my depression was. I wasn't eating. I wasn't taking care of myself. One night with our daughter was particularly bad. I was up all night and there was nothing I could do to get her to sleep. I decided to wake up my husband an hour before his alarm. I asked if he could watch her just so I could get a little nap. This man looked at me and he said, "That is disrespectful that you would ask me to do that, but I'm the only one working." Mind you, I got us 3 months ahead on all of our bills. This man would come home from work and ask for an hour to himself so he could relax and unwind. I granted that. After that hour, he would then jump in the shower for another hour. I'd be sitting at the dinner table with him and watching him eat while I feed my daughter and my plate of food in front of me growing cold. He would finish his meal and then start scrolling his phone without a care or even offer to take over feeding our daughter so that I could eat. When I was finally able to go back to work, I went right back to handling all of the bills, cooking, cleaning, and now childcare. When I was home, it's as if he had no obligation to care for our child. I could be washing dishes, cooking, and washing her diapers all at the same time while he watches TV, and if she started crying, he wouldn't even acknowledge her. I would yell at him that my hands are full. I know he hears her. Take care of her. There was an incident where I'd put her in a diaper before I left for work that morning. I mentioned that I cloth diapered her. I had a stash of 60 diapers and none of them were the same color or pattern. When I got home 8 hours later, she was in the same diaper I had left her in. I was livid. He let our child sit in a soiled diaper all day. I went back to school and became an EMT when she was 6 months old. I worked and went to school. I'm sure you can imagine how much help I received from him during this time. After I started working as an EMT, I worked 48-hour shifts and have 96 hours off. 2 days on, 4 days off. Often I would work close to 100 or more hours a week to support my family. Someone had to pay the bills and he wouldn't even bother. There was a night where I was on shift in another town. I got a call from my supervisor. Long story short, my ex had been drinking, something he did quite often around our child that I had no clue about, while our daughter was asleep in her bed. He went over to the neighbor's house and ended up in an altercation with him to which my husband ended up shot. I was furious. He left our daughter alone. He was drinking. He almost died and put our child at risk. When I decided to leave him, he tried to fight me on custody. I still don't understand why. From my perspective, he never cared about our daughter to begin with. He didn't have a pot to piss in or window to throw it out of. He was just blowing smoke. He gave up pretty quickly. Since then, he hasn't called to ask about her, given money or asked to see her. I'm not the type to keep him away from his kid. I would make him take her. I was forcing him to have a relationship with her. I didn't want my daughter to think that her dad doesn't care, and I'm not going to be the reason she doesn't see him. Now, I could care less. It's not up to me if she has a relationship with him. It's up to him. I'm done with it all. This is what brings us to today. My husband has dated in the 2 years since we separated. My husband is a bisexual man. I've met a few of his exes whom I've never had a problem with, except one. This ex is insane, toxic and violent. Someone I don't want around our kid. I've expressed that under no circumstances is to be near or around our child. Well, when I dropped off our child to him, apparently his ex was hiding in the bathroom so that I wouldn't see him. I found this out from my husband's brother and sister. To top it off, he admitted to them that he had sex with him in the same room as our child, but she was asleep the night I dropped her off. I saw red. I'm completely and utterly disgusted in him. I had tried to be cordial and respectful towards him, though he never deserved it, but I'm done. So I sent him a text that said, "Once we get this divorce finalized, I'm taking you back to court and I want you to sign your rights over. You've done nothing for your kid. Oh, I'm sorry when you got your money from your mother passing you bought her clothes and shoes, as you should because you are her father. You never called to ask about her, never sent money for her, you never asked to see her. I've reached out to you and pushed for you to have a relationship with her. You don't give it a single fuck. I never wanted children with you because you never fought for your first daughter. You're no better than a sperm donor, except for the fact that I had the unfortunate displeasure of knowing who you are. I envy every person that has never met you. You only want kids for the clout that brings you, so that you can portray the false image of caring and a loving father when that isn't the case. You're more concerned with getting high and getting your dick wet than having a relationship with your child, and you'll do it with her in the room. You're disgusting, depraved, a stain and illness to society. Do me a favor and sign your rights away. You don't need to damage your child with your worthless existence. If you care, you will do it for her. At least in my care, I'm not getting pumped with her in the room with me, as well as letting addicted and mentally ill individuals near my child. Sick ass. You offer her nothing but disappointment, so let's stop with that. Live your life away from us so that she may know peace. I'm wondering if this makes me an arsehole and if I went too far. I apologize for how long this post is and for any errors. I'm at work and typing this on my phone. There's a lot more to this story than this, but I try to condense it down as much as I could. If you have any more questions or need clarification on anything, ask away. A commenter said to OP is not the arsehole, and I don't know how she put up with that man for as long as she did. Her reaction was far overdue. OP says I'm naturally a very forgiving and patient person. It takes a lot to push me over the edge. I gave him way too much grace. I see it now, and I'm not going to put myself in a position where I have to forgive him again. Great Party says, "Girl, you are not forgiving. You have no boundaries. Please learn how to set them early so you protect yourself in the future, and most importantly, so that your daughter learns how to set and enforce boundaries. You both deserve to live happy and fulfilled lives, and that's going to be very difficult if you don't know how to protect yourselves from people like your husband. Good luck." Bitter Tongue says, "First, not the arsehole to your ex. He is the arsehole in terms of being a father and partner. He needs help, but not from you or your daughter. Report this man and his partner. It sickens me to think that he might have even gotten a kick out of having her in the room. You're the arsehole to your daughter though, for pushing her into this chaos when you already deem him to be a piss poor father. You put her in that situation for a selfish principle of forcing a relationship between them, despite knowing how little he cares about her. You didn't want to be seen as the mum who kept the child from their father, so you threw your child into a lion's den to prove it. You're the arsehole in that. And finally to yourself, you're the arsehole to yourself. You already had doubts. You already knew that he wouldn't be a good father or partner, and yet you continued on. You were disappointed when he failed to meet the standards you've put. Ones that he already failed because he never even cared to meet them before, and then you resent him for it. I understand that love likely powered you through most of that, but that doesn't change the fact that you knew and yet you stuck with it until you no longer could. Hopefully you and your daughter can move past this. I grew up without my father in my life. My mother fought to make sure he wouldn't be in it. I resent her as an adult, not because I think she ruined this non-existent father-daughter relationship everyone thinks we could have. Rather, it's because she took too long to leave. I was 5, and when she left, she had been so damaged by him that it was almost like he was still living with us for the next 20 years. Fuck that. I know you're trying your best, OP, and you honestly deserve a big hug and a pat on the back. Hope you'll make better decisions moving forward." OP replies to that saying, "I accept that. There were times where I could have done better and I should have done better. Thank you for your insight and honesty. It hurts my heart that I had a kid with a man who could care less, but I put myself in this situation. I had a wonderful relationship with my own father, and I guess for me it was like, how can someone not care about his kid? I'm sorry that has happened to you and your mother. Thank you again." Yeah, that comment was a harsh reality, but a true one, isn't it? I mean, the real issue is this man showed from the very beginning who he was. He already abandoned one child, did nothing during the pregnancy, ignored his wife's medical trauma and neglected his own baby. None of it was new behavior. So no, of course OP didn't go too far. If anything, that reaction was years overdue, but the uncomfortable truth is that she kept giving him chances and even pushed their daughter to have a relationship with someone who clearly just didn't give a shit. And at some point it just switches to about protecting the child from the reality that's happening, which hopefully now that's finally what's happening here. So OP does come in with an update and says, "Hello everyone, I'm back with an update. Since my last post I did end up going to the police station and filing a police report on my husband. I didn't contact CPS just because I knew that once I filed the police report, the police would then contact CPS. I was right and heard from CPS 2 days later. I gave them all the information I knew. Names involved, addresses and phone numbers. A few days after my initial post, I received a phone call from an officer in the same city as my ex's sister. She had filed a police report on him because after I made my police report, he had started threatening his sister. So I spoke with that investigator and gave them all the information I had and my case number. Since then, I haven't heard a word from him. I know CPS has gone and spoken with him, but that's the last I have heard. As of now, I'm just playing the waiting game and doing everything to keep my daughter away from him. In my last post, I had a lot of questions asking why I stayed with him as long as I did. He wasn't a good man to me. He was abusive and neglectful as a husband and father. The man knowingly gave me an incurable STD when I was 19 without disclosing it to me. I stayed because it boils down to low self-esteem and self-worth. I thought no one would ever want me again and I felt trapped with him. I was also asked why I kept pushing a relationship that he didn't want with him and his daughter. In my heart of hearts, I believed I was doing the right thing at the time. I wanted my daughter to grow up with her father in her life. I was wrong. So damn wrong. I see that now. I thought I was doing the right thing, but all I was doing was putting my daughter in danger and opening her up to being hurt and traumatized. I was selfish for that. I see now that an absent parent is better than a present one that doesn't care for the safety or well-being of their child. I will forever feel horrible for my own actions and the hand that I played in this. He was wrong for what he did, and I was wrong for putting my daughter in that position to begin with. My job is to protect her, and I didn't, and I will spend the rest of my life fixing my mistakes and working to do right by her. I've tried talking to my daughter about it if she had maybe seen something, but she's at the age where she doesn't quite understand and would rather watch Paw Patrol. I'm keeping my eye on her to see if she starts exhibiting strange behavior that may raise red flags. For now, we're working on healing, and I'm just giving my daughter all the love and care that she deserves. She's an amazing, sweet, and incredibly empathetic little girl. I'm beyond blessed to have her. She's this wonderful light in the world that has the ability to make me smile on my worst days. He's missing out on her. We'll have to live with that. My hope is that this doesn't affect her, but if it does, I will give her everything she needs to move past it. Thank you everyone that gave support and advice on this matter. I appreciated everyone's kind words and the not so kind words. I needed to hear it. A lot of you opened my eyes and I thank you all for that. A commenter on the back of this says, I'd strongly recommend looking for a therapist that specializes in children to talk to your daughter. They're trained to notice if something isn't right, and they'll likely be able to give you more solid footing if anything happened around your daughter that will affect her later. Even if you two just do 2 or 3 sessions, it's worth it to make sure she's handled well. They can also work with you and teach you the red flags to watch out for, because if she did see something or experience something, it might not surface for a few years. Opie says those are absolutely my next steps. Thank you so much. And a commenter says, my daughter doesn't know her biological. I gave him a chance. You're either in her life or not. I don't want no in and out daddy bullshit. He chose out 24 years ago. He did the same to her half-sister 13 years later. It is absolutely okay to raise a kid without the toxicity of the biological. She will fare so much better. I never hid that my husband is her step, but she loves him as if he was her bio. She asked about her bio and I've never hid information. It was always age-appropriate explanations. Your bio has mental health issues that make it so he can't be here. It's safer for you and us. As she got into her teens, she asked once to have a serious talk, and we did. I explained everything to her and she made the decision to not ever engage with him, especially as he had abandoned her half-sister. Anyways, raising a child without the bio is fine. It'll be okay. Just keep being an amazing mother to her and she won't even miss him. She won't know any different because she can say she has an amazing mum one day. I put in the work to make sure she never felt any less loved than the kids that have 2 parents. You got this, OP. I'm rooting for you and your little girl. It always absolutely blows my mind. I don't understand how anyone can treat their own child like that or just walk away like they don't matter. But in reading this, it's clear he didn't suddenly become a bad dad. He was never one to begin with. He abandoned his first kid, neglected his second one from day one, and chose himself every single time it mattered. I'm still absolutely blown away that someone could do that in the first place. It just pisses me off, to be honest. But anyway, what do you guys make of this situation? Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. And just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much for being here. And hopefully I'm going to see you in the next one. Take care and much love.